Show. We're back for another week. Thank you for sending in your comments and your feedback from episode number 1. Greatly appreciated. And we're so wrapped that people are enjoying what we're doing here on the RDFNL Footy Show for another year. I'm Shaun Kelly. Joining me as always is the guru, Chris Yeend. Welcome back, mate.
Oh, pumped to be back, mate. It's first round of footy and netball are out the way, and with the juniors as well. I think it's looking forward to be a great season. So round 1's done and dusted. Bring on the next
Pumped is probably an understatement for you. You're wearing a Woodend hat, you're wearing a Macedon shirt. You don't know where you're at the moment, do you?
Not at all. I need a few stubby holders from a few other clubs to just line them all up. The donations are welcome too.
They are indeed. And of course, speaking of promotion, thanks of course to Melton Toyota for the fantastic work that they do. We're taking this show in a couple of weeks down to Melton Toyota to Yendi, and we're going to get one of the greats on the panel with us. He's going to tell us about his car of the month, as he does all the time. He's going to have his chat about Centrals, and we're probably not going to be able to shut him up for quite a long time. Brian, now of course the great man, will be on the RDFL Footy Show in a couple of weeks, so it'll be great to have him. And of course, always great to have the support of Melton Toyota. Let's jump straight into the talking points for the week, mate. Starting up at Macedon, Sunday's game. Macedon flying, Matthew Knox. What an introduction to the RDFL. 10 big ones.
Yeah, 10 of the best, and I should say I was a little bit surprised because I did speak to Noxie in a practice match at Kyneton beforehand, and it was his first year after shoulder surgery, and he didn't probably have the best outing on the goal scorer in front, but it did sort of say it was all about working some confidence in there, which obviously he did. Goes out, kicks 10 against Broadford, who are no soft opposition by any stretch of imagination. So everything that he touched turned to goal.
And I suppose that's what made it better. Macedon 66-point winners over Broadford. Preliminary finalists last year. Had a look through their lineup, still very strong. Lance Pachone playing for Broadford on the weekend as well, which was really good to see. But Macedon gave them quite the touch-up, and Knox and Summerfield, their two gun recruits, two best players.
Absolutely. And one of the things we'll look at from Broadford, and we spoke about it last week about Woodend, bad kickings, bad footy. Broadford, 2 goals.
Second quarter killed them.
Yeah. And that's
60 lines in the second quarter.
And that's what did Woodend against Lansfield.
Yeah.
Then you're chasing tail, opposition goes forward, kicks a goal, and then the momentum goes straight back the other way. So, and fortunately, when you've got Tommy Waters in the ruck, and then Casey Summerfield, the addition there, and then Nipper Wright, the midfield's just moving beautifully. And to have Noxie up there in fine form, been great stuff.
Finishing off all that work. Talking point number 2 now. This could be pursued as a long bow to draw because it's round 1. There is still a long way to go, but from what you saw at Romsey Park on Saturday night against the Sunbury Kangaroos, where the reigning premiers got tipped over quite nicely by the Roos, is it the end of an era at Romsey?
I don't think so, because 12 months ago the same discussion could have taken place.
Yeah,
so not to say that Romsey are going to be up there again this year and it's sort of set in stone, but they did have a massive turnover from the 14 premiership list, and of course fast track the end of the season, they've won the flag. The key thing that really stood out for me that night, other than the rain, is the young players really sort of stepped up. And look, at the end of the day, you salvage what you can out of a night like that. It was wet, it was windy. And Sunbury did play sort of tall, strong. They just made the most of their opportunities, really. And Romsey's still got a long way to go, but they're just working a few things, a few processes in. And there was a few lapses in concentration there, where they were punching the ball to ground when perhaps they should have knocked it over through for a point. That Crummies down at ground level, Sunbury got a few goals there.
Yeah, so just stuff that comes from experience and getting a bit of touch back into their game style as well.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about. Just coming from the coach's bench, and they'll be right. They'll work okay, but they've got a few big losses in their game against Riddle this week, which we'll touch on later.
Yeah, we will indeed. Talking point number 3 was just basically the way that round 1 went. Obviously stretched over 2 weeks, 6 different games in 6 different time slots. What's the feedback from the community been? You're, of course, a man of the people. You're the one that's out there, not as much holding the 100.7 sign, but we'll touch on that. Some exciting news on that front coming up very, very shortly. But you're the man that's out there with the people. What's the feedback on kind of the rolling round 1?
Well, the feedback I got was that there was a lot of people basically went to every single game. So everywhere you go, you had the same coaches going through. It was a perfect opportunity for particularly for the senior football coaches, to go out and see who's performing well.
Yep.
And then maybe meet up with some of the coaches and sort of get to know them a bit more and
Compare some notes too in some circumstances.
Exactly. So I think it was great. From what I hear, there was quite a few coaches that sort of went out to every single game, saw a half here. I caught up with Jared Dixon. He saw the first half over between Woodall and Diggers Rest. I imagine he was out there on a Friday night, and he was out and about quite often. So there was a lot of coaches doing the same thing. So that's the big thing.
So it's great to see all the coaches get out there. We just see Jared Dixon go to a few games, and Kev Fitzgerald, he was out and about, Dean Elvis. So the coaches are really making the most of the opportunity, and it's great to see supporters from all clubs get out to all sorts of different grounds and just enjoy footy. I know they won't be saying that maybe 4 or 5 weeks' time.
Correct, when it gets cold and rainy and everything, but a great initiative by the RDFNL, and great to see all 6 games on the one weekend. We go back this weekend though to a more traditional fixture for round 2, starting out at Greenhill Reserve. Wallen taking on the Melbourne Central. Centrals, of course, good winners in the first week of round 1. And Wallen couldn't quite get the job done against Rupert last weekend. Pretty interesting game coming up.
It definitely is. I did hear from my spies that Stars over at Rupert, they actually commended Wallen on their efforts. They started well. I spoke to some of the officials as well. Very impressive first up against Rupert's Wood, but then sort of faded as the game progressed. Well, the Centrals, we know what they're all about. They had over 40 scoring shots against Rockbank down here. So it's going to be a very tight contest. But it'll give us a good chance to see where they're at this year.
And I suppose more of an indication of where Centrals are at as well, given that it was Rockbank in round 1. Which way are you tipping, please?
I'm going to have to stick with the home side on this one.
Yeah, I must admit, I'm going to go Centrals.
Yeah.
I just feel that they are in some good nick. Matty Gilmore at full forward, it's going to be hard to top. Be a bit of a shootout between him and Sammy Rexetti, hopefully, but it'll be good to see up at Greenhill Reserve. Rockbank taking on Wood End Heskett at the Ian Cowie Reserve this week, and a good chance for Wood End Heskett to open their season account after that round 1 loss to Lansfield.
Exactly. Well, they played quite well. I know they've been hard hit by injuries even before the season started, and Rockbank, they've just got to take what they can out of that first game. But Wood End, we spoke about the last game. This is a chance to see where they're at this season, all the hard work they've done. And look, they've got some really good form in there. I like to see Tommy Gawthorpe get up there, maybe to 5, 6, 7 goals. It's a bit of a Joey Danaher sort of mould. And so I'd like to see how he goes this week.
Yeah, Wood End for me in this one. You're tipping Wood End, because after we are, we're in the
that's right, mate.
So tipping would be Lansfield taking on Diggers Rest. Interesting game as well. Give us a bit more of an idea of where Lansfield are at. Obviously had that impressive round 1 win against Wood End Heskett, but they're coming up where the big boys play this week, and Diggers Rest, a different story in particular, with a very good start to the season for them as well, toppling over Riddle.
They say you're only as good as your last quarter, and Diggers Rest, they kicked 7 goals forward and nothing in their last term, so the defence was pristine, their forward line was very active. Lansfield, they were very good in their last quarter, so to speak, against the Hawks, and Johnny Kent, he kicked 6 goals. Got some really good support there from the Barton boys out there. I think I like what I saw from them the other week, and Diggers obviously with Hine and good touch as well. And good form. Smalls already kicking goals. Mick Kilty's already using his big body out there, so maybe that's going to be the big thing for the Bows. They're just a bigger bodied side. But saying that, Lansfield, they're going to be a very hard team to beat this year.
But you're tipping
Diggers.
Same as me, Diggers Rest in this one. Riddle taking on Romsey up at Riddle's Creek Reserve. Both these teams going into a position they're probably not familiar with, losing in round 1. So very important game for both of these teams.
It definitely is, and we've sort of spoken about earlier on the show that Romsey are going to have a number of outs, and I think it's going to fall down to Nathan and Aidan Tazari. We wouldn't be talking out of school in that one there. Their young sister is going on and captaining the Victorian basketball side. So, understandably, I think that they're expecting
Take some time to support the family.
Exactly, they're a very close family down there, and that's what makes them a really good family, which is what both clubs are, really good family-orientated clubs. But the Bombers, they're just stinging from that last game, and they've got a lot of recruits in there that have been determined to give a red-hot go.
And Riddle for mine in this one as well. Sunbury Kangaroos taking on Broadford. Night game, Saturday night at Eric Boardman Reserve. And speaking of teams stinging from a round 1 loss, you'd think that Broadford are going to be coming out fairly hard in this one, but the Kangaroos, Jared Dixon hadn't done all right early on, and they'll be very, very keen to go 2-0 and have Broadford go zip 2 as well, because then that creates a nice little chasm between the two teams.
It certainly does, and I remember talking to Jared on Saturday night. The wet conditions, he still didn't didn't predict that. I don't think anyone predicted where Little were going to see out of Romsey, but he had a big body side. And this is probably where we're going to see guys like going to recruit James Barnes, son of a great man. He didn't get a goal scoring opportunity on the weekend, but Ryan Pretty, he was buzzing. There was a couple of other guys that really sort of stepped up to the plate. In fact, they've got their bigger bodies and they're in good form. I think it's going to be great. And I love the way that Jack Cuff and Brenton Sutherland rotate off the bench. We know how good...
Cuffy's still playing.
He's still playing.
He'd be 100 years old now, Cuffy.
If only he and Fletch were still going around together, it would be fantastic. But well, to say that, Broadfield got a really great division as well. He played really well on the weekend, so they'll be hurting. And from what I hear, they just didn't use the corridor enough, so they're going to need to do that at the board and reserve, which is going to be a nice, fast, hard track.
You're tipping?
Sunbury.
I'm tipping Broadford. I reckon they can bounce back in this one, especially if they want to be able to do what they did again last year and make it. I suppose they finished 6th in the home away sector. We know how well they went. If they want to kind of safeguard that double chance, they need to win games like this. And I reckon they can. Get back.
What about the coaches though? Like you've got Jared Dixon, who's is a footy mastermind. Then you've got Dean Holmes, who is a footy mastermind.
Exactly right. It's going to be a battle for the ages this weekend. And then on Monday, a fantastic work by Macedon once again hosting Anzac Day football. This time against Rupert's Wood, playing on the Monday. It's not often that happens, and my spies tell me that for those that can't get up to Macedon this week, and why wouldn't you? It's going to be a great day, great ground, everything like that, that they may be able to tune into a certain radio station and perhaps hear the dulcet tones of one C Yeend.
Oh, we'll have a crack, mate. We're bringing in some new blood for that call there. So we're going to warm up the vocals on Saturday, Ruben and Romsey, which we're looking forward to. And then we've got some young talent coming through on Monday, and that's going to be a great game. And the big stage Anzac Day, it's this is the second best day behind the grand final. As expected.
And of course, all the Essendon scores will be flocking like the footy this year because they won't want to, although it'll be quite a close game, Collingwood are no good this year either. So back to the task at hand, Macedon went about it really, really well in round one. So did Rupert's Wood. So this will be quite the game to watch. And of course, Kevin Fitzgerald coaching against a few of his former Gisborne Chargers this week too. So he's going to know Matty Knox pretty well. He's going to know Casey Sunfield pretty well. And he's going to know Tom Borders pretty well. And he's going to know how to beat them.
He certainly is, and I noticed he was out there making sure that he sort of got as much info as he could. I know he would have been out there on Sunday, so as a lot of coaches would be, just to see how Macedon are tuning up, and they're tuning up beautifully. The thing that I really like most about Macedon on the weekend, they had Zach Smedley and Ian Borisi. They're the future right there for the club. They were standout performers. They also played with Toby Sims, who's up in the Bendigo Pioneers development squad up there, fresh from Kyneton, doing some great things, played in the grand final last year in the 16. Big hopes on him. And Rupert's Wood, well, they're talent for the upper base. It's very well known. So
and a few of them showed it last weekend as well.
Exactly. And I looked at their reserve side from last year. Also on the weekend, a lot of them played in the ratings grand final last year. And I'm thinking, well, how come these guys aren't getting a game of footy like Dan Cavanaghs and Dan Gitt, who captained the premiership side? If these guys get an opportunity, geez, Rupert's Wood are going to be a force this year.
Yeah, they are indeed. And great to make mention of last weekend with the Port Cannons as well. That 4 of the boys that went on the AFL Goldfields trip to Cairns and represented the RDFNL last year, in Brad Benacki, Bailey Revel, Dylan Land and Dylan Featon all playing in the Cannons team last weekend. Bailey Revel and Dylan Featon making their debuts, and Brad Benacki's probably been their most consistent player throughout the first 3 rounds as well. And Jake Nolan getting amongst it on the weekend, your man of course from Woodend as well. So the Cannons going okay, they're zip 3 at the moment. They've got a big game against the North Ballarat Rebels this Saturday.
Yeah, look, I think the Cannons are going to put you guys to shame, mate.
I don't.
I'm really confident that being the case, especially if Jack O'Sullivan gets in there. He won the VCFL medal in the grand final last year. He's coming back from ankle injury. He's coming back to tear the Ballarat Rebels a new one.
Well, it's going to be very interesting football in the RDFL this weekend. Thanks for joining us once again on the RDFL Footy Show. Yeend, thank you for your time. We look forward to hearing you again next week. And also this weekend on 100.7 Highlands FM making their season debut.
Always a pleasure. We're looking forward to it. And we express interest. If anyone wants to sort of get involved, we want to get as many young people involved in our Highlands FM as possible.
Definitely. Great way to get involved in footy media. It's how the both of us got started through community radio and footy media, and now we're sitting here in front of one of the highest rated local football shows there is on the internet. So get around it. Contact details for you on the screen at the moment, so give them a call if you want to be interested. If not, more than happy to keep you here watching us on the RDFL Footy Show every week. We'll see you next week.